Hey pals, Peeps here. Thanks for dropping in today. I know it's been a bit since I put out a video. I've had a lot of things outside the hobby that require my attention and focus, but I am really happy to come back to the YouTube community here with a video, and I do appreciate anyone who comes by and spends a little time on this channel. Saw a lot of people went to Strongsville. I'm sort of trying to catch up on some of those recap videos. Looks fantastic. Very envious of the gang who was there, and I hope to make it there one day, because it does seem like the kind of show that would really appeal to me and appeal to my collecting senses, if you will. Anyhow, just want to share a few things, kind of recapping a few things today, a few low budget pickups, some show pickups, and some hobby pals to mention in relation to those show pickups. And let's get to it. All right, before we actually get into it, I wanted to show my Manny Sanguian as a shout out to Rev Steve, who I did not know, but I can tell that we had a lot of hobby pals in common, and I can see what Rev Steve meant to the community. I am subscribed to the channel. I used to watch the videos a lot. We just didn't connect personally, but this is my favorite Manny Sanguian card. 1972 Topps Series Celebration on top of the world. What better shot of Manny than that one right there? I just absolutely love this card. I've had this for a long time. I've often looked for a buyback version of this card just to get a parallel, if you will. And I haven't landed one yet, but that would certainly be of interest to me. Just a fabulous card. Shout out to Rev Steve. Rest in peace, brother. Here's the back. Look at the fine print on this. My goodness, this might be the finest. This might be the finest print on any card back maybe I've ever seen. Somebody let me know. Good grief. All right, well, this one's going to hang out in the background of this video for the entirety. Love that one. And on to some budget pickups. Here we have, I guess I'll preface this by explaining what this sort of two-drawer box is in the background. This is my bridge box. Used to be smaller, maybe a year and a half ago, and then I made this to accommodate my bridge collection. This collection is full of bridge players who played both, bridge players meaning played both in the Negro Leagues and the Major Leagues. And these are all non-Hall of Famers in here. So anyway, I work in a wood shop regularly, and I banged this together. I have a lot of boxes like this for my slabs and others, and one touches and top loaders, sort of different sizes, and they're all made out of reused wood and other things that I kind of craft into poles for the drawers. Anyhow, you can kind of see how this works, and I think on the channel I've shown the older box that I was using. I've shown that before. Anyhow, I digress. Let's get on to the pickups. All right, these are budget pickups. Let's start with Gene Baker here. This is my Gene Baker that lives in that box. I've had this for a long time. The 1958 Topps Gene Baker. I believe this is this his first card with the Pirates? I think so. Came up through the Cubs organization. Of course, is known for being the first black manager in organized baseball when he took over the I think a AAA club affiliated with the Pirates. He was actually a player manager when he did that. That was like in '61 or something. Anyhow, Gene Baker came up in 1954 as a shortstop in the Cubs organization, came up with Ernie Banks. And of course, Ernie Banks got the nod at shortstop, and Gene Baker was immediately pushed over to second base. But Gene Baker, maybe most importantly, Gene Baker's managerial career, again, being the first black manager in organized baseball, was a big feat. He was on the Pirates for that 1960 championship. He was on the team, albeit just mostly a pinch hitter, pinch runner type. Love the story of Gene Baker. Don's Field of Dreams did a great episode years ago now on Gene Baker. And so maybe I'll try to find a link to that and link it below. Anyway, this is my regular copy. And the reason I bring that out is because I recently picked up, here, let's not reveal the next one. I recently picked up a parallel, if you will. This is a beautiful tape parallel. Fully taped at one point. It was completely ripped in half, and it's been mended and stained and chewed, perhaps. I'm not sure. But love picking up these low-budget parallels to the cards in the bridge box already. Love that one. You can see the tape goes clear around. And it's funny, Mookie Chilson's recap of the Strongsville show had some really great cards that he got from, I think it was Vintage Dave T. Some beautiful parallels, if you will. Go ahead and look at that. Maybe I'll link Mookie's recap video as well. That's definitely worth a watch. A lot of great stuff to look at, and great sort of stories behind the cards, as always. So here's my Gene Baker tape parallel. I was really stoked to pick that up. Again, this was probably, I think this was like $2 maybe to my door, maybe $2.20 or something. Love those low budget pickups. Maybe I'll get some holders here while I scramble around because I'm not prepared. And we'll show them side by side. If I can gather this together. All right, next up we got the 65 Don Clendenin. Of course, Don was, I guess I didn't mention Gene Baker. Let's put this back for a second. Gene Baker, I didn't mention Gene Baker played for the Kansas City Monarchs. So that was his Negro Leagues experience. Played for the Monarchs for a couple seasons. And then was in the system of the Cubs shortly after that. He played for the Monarchs in like the late 40s, 48, 49, I think. And then was in the Cubs farm system shortly after that. Spent time in the PCL after, sort of mid-career, I guess you would say. And anyhow, I didn't mention that, so I thought I would. Don Clendenin, back to Don. Of course, an instrumental player in that 1969 Miracle Mets team. Was a World Series MVP on that team. Went to Morehouse, and his big brother at Morehouse College was none other than Martin Luther King Jr. So Don Clendenin was a renowned scholar, and just has an incredible story. He played for the Atlanta Black Crackers during the summers while he was in college. And like I said, 1969 World Series MVP. Love this one. My 65 Don Clendenin for the bridge box. I'll try to get Don in over here. And then, of course, the parallel, because Don was traded to the Expos, and someone took it upon themselves to correct the card, very carefully erasing the Pirates off the flag there, although not erasing the pirate itself, and with blue pen putting in Expos. I just love that. Flip it around to the back. Nothing on the back, but corrected on the front. Love finding these. Again, just a couple of bucks. Beautiful parallel to the 65 Clendenin. And then lastly, we've got our Pancho Frank Herrera. Frank was his nickname. Pancho or Panchon was his name. Born in Cuba. One of the first black Phillies. The first black Philly, American-born black Philly, was John Kennedy, who doesn't have a major league card. But Pancho and or Frank, if you want to call him Frank, that was his nickname. Common nickname for in Cuba, I guess, for the name Pancho was Frank. Anyhow, I digress. Played a few hundred games in the majors from 58 to 61. It's interesting because this would be his rookie card, and it is his rookie card. But in 59, he's got a rookie cup, All-Star rookie cup. And in 60 also has an All-Star rookie cup. So tops, he's got several rookies. And he's not the only player to get that sort of treatment. I'm not sure why, but again, I'm sort of rambling here. When he was like 18, still a teenager, played with the Kansas City Monarchs, was a catcher. He's shown as a first baseman here, but came up in the Negro Leagues as a catcher. Played with Ernie Banks, Sam Jethro, Manny Mioso on the Monarchs, and eventually came up through the Phillies into the Phillies organization. Super interesting story, and that's my Pancho Herrera. Oh, this also there is a fairly rare misprint where it just says Herrera, and I think that's pretty rare. I've never seen one, but I hear it exists. I'm sure somebody can fill me in. But I found my parallel. Another handwritten correction, and I love that it's sort of phrased or third base. Let's not pigeonhole Pancho into the first baseman's role, because he could play some third base too when he wasn't striking out. Although he had a couple really good seasons. He did strike out a lot, was a power hitter. I think his best season he hit, I don't know, high teens in home runs, maybe 17, 18 home runs or something. Did he make the All-Star team? He might have made the All-Star team one of those years. Anyhow, this is my parallel, my cheap pickup, my parallel budget buy, but one that I totally adore. And I just love that or is right in there, or third base. So there you have it, my budget pickups for the bridge box, the parallel game. And all right, let's move on to the next grouping of cards. All right, on to some show pickups and hobby pals. We've got the Jackie Robinson Sportcaster here that I picked up from Scott over at Stooks Baseball Cards and Curiosities. I've said this before, but Scott is a mastermind in the hobby, especially when it comes to kind of left field sets and unusual and rare items. Now, the Sportcaster is not a rare item, but I think it's a fantastic release, Italian release in 1977, multi-sport release, and Jackie, it's a great shot of Jackie and like warm-ups at Ebbets Field. Just love that one. And so I brought that out because I was able to pick up a couple other Sportcasters to kind of pair with it. maybe the only two other sportcasters that I'll own. Very cheap to get, and I think I mentioned this when I showed the Jackie. And here it is, the Joe DiMaggio, who at the time was a hitting coach for the Oakland Athletics. It's a great shot of Joe D, Yankee Clipper. This was had for just a few bucks to my door. And it's a beauty. Just like the Jackie, it kind of gives a little bio on the back, talking about career achievements and awards and records and the like. So it was really nice to land this one. Just need to get a couple of those larger top loaders to put these in. And then, so this one came via eBay in the mail. But this next one, the Maris Mantle combo, which I just love because on the back it sort of goes over their story. This one came from Scott at a show about a month after I picked up the Jackie, along with a few other items. Just love this one, sort of side-by-side shots. And you just can't separate these two when you talk about big moments in baseball and big seasons. So I just love this one. And of course on the back it sort of goes through, again, a little bio of the two of them, focusing on that home run record and that season of 1961. Just love this. Love this as a companion piece to the Jackie. So grab this one from Scott. And here's another one. This is the existing, my one and only exhibits, to that point anyway, of Gene Baker. I've shown this one before, and here's a little tip. I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows this, but these exhibits cards fit perfectly into a PSA graded sleeve. These PSA sleeves, as you can see, it fits perfectly, and it's just, I don't know, they're fairly rigid cards to begin with, and it just fits in there beautifully. And I don't know, anybody is looking for a way to kind of protect their exhibits cards, those PSA graded sleeves are perfect. Anyhow, Gene Baker, my very first exhibits, shown there with the Cubs. And I'd always been kind of looking for a companion. And of course, this is the very first thing I saw when I went up to Scott's table. None other than the Larry Doby. And better yet, it's a Larry Doby tape parallel. You can see some collector taped it into an album of some sort. Also blank back, you can see the tape remnants on the back top there. And how about that Larry Doby to accompany Gene Baker? Just love that. Very nice price on that as well. Thank you, Scott. It's just a great pairing. Absolutely love it. And then one other thing I got at the show from Scott was, and this is not for me, so sometimes I do this, and I'm sure you do too. Sometimes you see something that you just know, you may already have a copy, or you know belongs in another collection. And I've already got a copy of this, but I look forward to giving this to a friend of mine in the near future, and that is the Neil Broughton rookie card, of course, from Miracle on Ice. I've shown my graded copy before, but this was just a raw copy, and Scott had it in the case. Very, very reasonably priced. The OPG, I don't believe Broughton had a Topps rookie. I think it's only OPG. So he only had one option for Neil. But that'll go to a hobby pal, and I can't wait to send that on. And last, just a couple of cards from another dealer. And this one here, look at that, $2 for the 1981 Topps Traded Fernando Valenzuela. It's actually not bad centering either. This card is notoriously off center. I do have a graded copy of this, but for $2, I just could not pass this up. I have a hobby pal in mind that I am going to send this to. And what a year, you know. I mean, Fernando Mania, you're talking Cy Young, MVP, World Series title, one of the greatest pitching seasons of all time. I think he kind of belongs in the Hall of Fame just because of the significance of what he brought to the game and the titles. And anyhow, love this Fernando. Couldn't pass it up for $2. Let me know what you think there. And then this one here was in a dollar bin. The 1969 Topps Decal. Now, it's the Willie McCovey, of course. Now, Willie McCovey was also a bridge player, played for the Birmingham Black Barons. But, of course, Willie McCovey is a Hall of Famer, and in 1969 was perhaps his best season. He was the MVP in the National League, and this is also a little tape parallel. This was a whopping $1 in the bargain bin. It was a different dealer, not Scott, but same dealer that I got the Valenzuela. And I was just thrilled to pick this up. This is my only 69 Topps Decal. These were, I don't know how many, does it say how many? Number 31 of 33. You can see the remnants of the tape on the back of this one. So I guess it was a 33 card insert set, really. So kind of an early insert set. I wonder what the earliest inserts were. I know there was those transfers, rub-offs and whatnot in 63 and 66. I know there were other various inserts. So let me know in the comments if you know what the very first inserts were in packs. Insert sets, if you will. All right, and more recently, there was a hobby show that Scott was working down in Iowa, and I managed to contact him regarding a particular card that was in a case, and it's sort of bittersweet because we've got a great hobby pal in our community who I think was also looking at that card. I happened to, I think, inquire maybe first and make a quick decision. I knew right away when I saw good images of it that it was for me. It's a card I've been looking for a long time, and it's a card that I've wanted to share with my old man as he grew up a Yankees fan. And I'm going to show that in a second, but I was able to do a deal, and Scott brought it back from Iowa. It was like the state show. It was an annual card show in Iowa. It looked huge. In fact, our hobby pal, I'll just say it, is our buddy Drew over at Clean Cheap Shots. Did a nice recap of that show and picked up some great stuff for himself. But Drew was the other person looking at this card, and I still feel somewhat bad about that. But I know my dad is going to absolutely flip out when I show this card to him, which I haven't shown him yet. So I'm kind of keeping it as a surprise. So anyway, Scott, we made the transaction, and then I met Scott at this local antiques mall here, excuse me, a week ago, or 2 weeks ago now, geez. And we tootled around this antiques mall. I picked up a few things. Here's a $1 pack of some Pro Set French I'm going to throw into my hockey wax box for a rainy day. Here's an interesting one, a 1995 baseball pack, which was only, I think this was like $1.25 or something. Not a particularly desirable top set. if maybe they're going to be bricked, I don't really know, but I'm going to throw this into the baseball wax box for a rainy day, or perhaps a fun little quick video. And another even cooler one. This one I'm really excited for. It's the 95-96 hockey Series 2, but there is a small chance. This one was like $3 or $4 maybe. And reason being is because you could potentially get a mystery finest and finest refractor in here. Some of the early refractors in the hobby. So that's a super cool one that I will share with everybody on the channel. Probably coming up here, maybe during the playoffs. I also picked up this beautiful vintage Twins bobblehead that you see in the background. I've been looking for one of those for a very long time. That one is from the first part of the 60s. I want to say 61. I'm not entirely sure. But it bobbles beautifully. And the cashier was calling it a nodder, which I hadn't heard before, believe it or not. Some people call them nodders. Anyhow, the main reason I went to meet Scott was for this card that I'm about to bring over to my old man's house. And I think you'll understand why I was so jazzed when I saw it via text message in a little thread we have going with Scott and some others. And here it is. Look at that beautiful, pristine one. I mean, this is an extraordinary looking copy of this card, the 1952 Topps Yogi. Yogi is one of my dad's favorite players, DiMaggio being his favorite. I'd say Yogi was probably a close second. And that is an outstanding copy. It's even better than it looked on the picture over the phone. Here's the back. Also looks great. Just an absolutely stunning pour one. Not sure why it got the grade, but I'm sure happy it did because it made it affordable and within reach. I could not be more stoked about that. 52 Topps Yogi, iconic set, iconic player. 10 or more titles. How many titles did Yogi get? At least 10. Anyhow, super thrilled. Scott passed that off to me at the Antiques Mall. I just was super fired up about it. And I cannot wait to show my old man. And with that, I'm going to close out the video. I really appreciate you sticking around. A little catch up. You have some catching up to do. I have some catching up to do. But again, I love hanging out with you guys virtually and through texts, and this hobby just wouldn't be the same without all of you. Really appreciate it, and take care. We'll see you next time. Peace.